Hey everyone, it's Maggie Mylow here, and I am back with our last lesson for our introduction into acrylics, and then next week we will get into our acrylic lessons. I just wanted to say, as of this moment, there are 40 members. I wrote down 39, but just a little while ago we had a new member come in. But I have a virtual art club Facebook group, so it's Maggie Mylow's apostrophe S virtual art club and Facebook group. And then what that will do is if you have any questions or you need hands-on help, I'll be there to help you. You can post pictures and I can tailor your answer so that way everybody would know. These lessons are completely free, but I am asking for donations if you feel the value of these classes is very helpful. So if you want to make a donation, any denomination is greatly appreciated. And my email address you can contact me is maggiemylow@hotmail.com. Okay, so that is the intro beginning part. So we're just gonna get into our first lesson here, and we are gonna talk about dimension. And the reason why we're going to talk about dimension is we as artists and as painters, we are painting typically on a flat surface. So we're painting on paper or we're painting on a canvas. Typically anything that we do is a flat surface. So we can't show people that it's three-dimensional unless we add shape, color, tone, value, which is all part of dimension, in order to make it look three-dimensional on a flat canvas. So what we're going to do is we're just going to talk about what that is to start off with. I have my book turned this way for just a minute, and this is the exercise that we're going to do. So dimension is the way an artist can make a flat substrate, so a canvas, and make an object as though it looks like it has a 3D shape. We do this by adding shadows, highlights, and form to the object. So that's the kind of description that I came up with this class. But before we get going, there's just a little note in order to understand layering color, because some colors are opaque and some colors are transparent. And then we're just going to talk about this for just a brief minute. It does overlap into the painting, but we're going to go through it relatively quick, and then we're going to go straight into our lesson. So transparent paint is an opaque paint. It's the opacity or how much you can see underneath that paint. So the more transparent it is, the more underneath that paint layer you'll be able to see. And anything that is opaque, you won't be able to see anything over top of it because it'll be or not translucent. So I brought out some examples of paint for you to see here. The only reason why I'm bringing out the golden paint, because it's a perfect example of how you can visually see the transparency of the paint. So this is Liquitex Basics paint. I have all these colors out right here, but most of, say like student grade paint, to some professional paint usually is opaque, just because it usually has a lot of pigment and a lot of binders in it. So it looks really creamy, and it does have a lot of pigment powder, etc. with it. So I just have this green one here. So this is what you can do, is you can just take a little bit of paint and you can just see, like, I'm just rubbing it along this way here, just doing like a thin layer so you can see. I wanted you to see, let's just wipe that off a little bit. Just do a thin layer. I might just go to a brush. So just so you could see whether it is transparent or opaque. So all I did was I just did a little square in here, and I took some black paint and I did a swipe. Okay, so this one is very opaque by the looks of it, so you can see. The next color I have is Pyro Red, and the one thing that I love about the golden paint is, I'm not on these ones specifically, you can see they have 3 little black bars right there, and they have them on all of their bottles. And what they do is they'll take an actual lot coloring, like they'll have some of the same coloring for this particular lot, and they will paint the color over top of those black bars so you can see how opaque the paint is. And it will even show you on the back side. You can see that this is the most transparent and there's the opaque side. And then same thing on this side, you can see the bar has moved over to just there and there. And then this one, it doesn't show because there's paint on it, and this one doesn't show either. So it could be just old bottles, but so anyway, so I'm going to show you the next one, which is the Pyro Red. I had these sitting out for a little while just because I was having lunch break. So you see, I took some of that Pyro Red, and you can see if I put a swipe of that color over top, you'll be able to see that there's a lot of that black that got covered up. Okay, so then the next color I have is this Cad Yellow, and you can see that you can see some of those black bars through. So this is, some of it dried up, so I'm just gonna get a little bit more, clean my brush out a little bit better. Make sure you really clean your brush out really well if you're doing this at home. That's a little bit better. Okay, and then I'm going to pick up some of that yellow again. Just do this way, and you can see how it shows quite a bit of that black through in comparison to up here. Okay. Next color is this nickel azo yellow. So you can see, you're going to see more of those black bars showing up because it's quite transparent. So we're just going to do another swipe this way. And you can see it's quite a bit more transparent, but you can see what would happen if I put it over top of white. Okay, the last color is very transparent. It is the most transparent color that I have. And so this is the transparent Pyro Orange. We're going to do the same thing as we did. So we're going to do the last line. Okay. Now you can see that orange is not really showing up over top of the black as compared to the green up here. So that's what I want you to understand, because if we're layering a dark color underneath, and we want to put a lighter color on top, we have to be very careful about the transparency of it, because if it's really dark underneath and that color is transparent, you're not going to be able to see it. So that's why it was just a little note that we're going to put in to the dimension part of it, so that way it kind of overlaps into the painting, but it is an important part of this. So just going to get rid of this. This is also a very cheap little hack for you guys. This is actually a page protector and just a piece of loose leaf in here just so I could see my color mixing. And you can use this as a palette, and then you can just wipe it off and reuse it as many times as you want. Okay, so this is the exercise that we are going to be doing today. So we are going to do an apple, and I'm going to show you why we need to add depth and adding layering, and so that way we can create dimension, so we can give something shape. Okay, so I'm just going to turn this over this way. And what you're going to need out for colors and for supplies is you're going to need an angle brush, and then the number 4 round brush. So you're going to want to just maybe put those in the water right now and get them soaking. So let me just find my number 4 round. There it is. Okay, get that into the water. Okay, so I already pre-gessoed this area here twice and let it dry twice. And then I just drew in the halfway mark, and then I divided into 3 sections. So I have 6 sections in total. And what I want you to do is I want you to have quite a bit of the cadmium red out. You're going to use quite a bit of this, a little bit of yellow. This is the Winsor blue, or you can use phthalo blue as well, a little bit of black, and a little bit of white. Okay, so we're going to do some basic apple shapes. If you cannot draw an apple. I am going to post into the Facebook group. I'm just going to show you what you can do. Oh, here it is, right here. So if you can't draw, I will have a drawing of an apple available for you, and it will be this one right here. I'll have that available for you over at the Facebook group. And what you can do is just print it out on a piece of paper. And then what you can do is you just take a pencil on the backside and just kind of scratch over top of it. And then I'll show you what I did in here, just because it's the same process. Let's go back further. So I just traced this out and then painted on the inside. So you would put this down and then trace the lines out with a pencil, and then you will have that image there just ever so lightly, so that way you can fill it in. So I will have that available for you guys over the Facebook group. So